now that another Christmas has been and gone, and with so many days left in 2016, now's pretty much the time of the year where we reflect. Now, when it comes to One Piece, there's a lot to digest when it comes to 2016. I think we could all agree the content we've gotten this year, not in the manga, but also in the anime, and I'll explain um, in a minute where this is going. But first off, this year has had something to offer. It's probably been the best year for one to be a One Piece fan. Whether you read the manga, whether you follow the anime, you're anime only, or if you manage to watch One Piece film Gold. Now, I think we could all agree One Piece is at its height. No, but when we look to what's happened this year and we know what's awaiting next year, so now we can reflect specifically more to the point on the manga content we got. And when you think about it, obviously one topic comes to mind, one discussion comes to mind, and that is the year of Sanji. So ever since 2016 began, we got the first ever chapter of 2016 almost a year ago. It was pretty much set in stone. That's from that point forward, it was all going to be about Sanji, referring to the year of Sanji in 2016 instead of the One Piece content in 2016. So when you look at it as a whole, when you look at it objectively, fanboys and fangirls of Sanji aside, did the year of Sanji meet the expectations of what we hoped this year would provide us, at least when it comes to Sanji? When it comes to a backstory, obviously, it seemed kind of rushed, I'm not gonna lie. There's certain things here and there. Obviously, Sanji needs to get that major big win. Again, it sucks that he hasn't got a win yet since the New World began. Obviously, he got his leg cracked by Virgo and Punk Hazard. God knows what happened against Doflamingo if it weren't for Law. And obviously, in this arc, he took a major L against Judge. Yes, I know it was underhanded as fuck. But again, Sanji has over the top observation hockey, so I'm still confused why he couldn't see that coming. But whatever, I guess it was a plot point to draw this out to realize the situation that Sanji is in desperation mode now, and the way that everything's been set up. Again, the comparisons to what happened in Edie's lobby with Robin obviously carried through in this arc with Sanji, and that's basically with the Tenryubito wristbands. Now, we learned a lot about Sanji. We learned a lot more about his characterization overall. But when you look at it as a whole, his interactions with the Vince Mercs, his interactions with Big Mom, his interactions with Puddin, even though we now know where she lies. And I'll get into that in a minute because I know a lot of people are going back and forth. People want to say, oh, they called this, they called that.
And well, obviously, I'm beginning to think Nami's going to have a one-on-one fight, which is cool. Will it be with Madame Brule, perhaps Puddin? Who knows? I'm hoping Nami gets the chance to shine because we really haven't seen Nami in a one-on-one fight in a long time. She's had a moment, she's had fights, but not a one-on-one fight. Especially with a emotionally invested arc like this. I think the last time she had any kind of fight one-on-one was against Khalifa in Ina's lobby, and ironically enough, she was mostly invested in that arc too because she was crying her eyes out when Robin left to sacrifice herself for CP. So, welcome CP's 9-month attack, the Straw Hats. We know how that went down. Same applies here, and again, I've said this repeatedly. Nami ever since the crew before the separation, Nami at the entire Straw Hats has shown more emotion. Not to say the other Straw Hats don't have emotional mixed feelings about it, but Oda's planted that way that she has shown more emotion to Sanji than she ever has out of the entire series, plus out the entire crew so far. So
now you may be wondering why I'm going back to those videos. Number one, I highlighted a couple of important things during that discussion. Obviously, the way everything's been set up right now, we've got a lot more information, we've got a lot more development since then. But if you look at the way everything is structured now, and you look at the way the direction of this arc is heading, it does seem like there's going to be one-on-one fights. Now, back when I made this prediction, I still felt strongly about Nami. She's the most emotional Straw Hat on Whole Cake Island. Obviously now Luffy, but back then
Nami showed more emotion than the Straw Hat. Things have changed, but I still think there's going to be one-on-one fights. Brooke, I'm not too sure because think about this. I mean, Chopper and Carrot kind of had their dealings out with that Brule, but they still got Montdor to take care of. You still have Bobbins to take care of. You have Lord Smoothie to take care of another sweet commander, and plus this is where the Vince is going to come into play, perhaps. But I think Nami out of the entire crew that's on Whole Cake Island is going to have a one-on-one fight. I really think that's the case. Luffy's already had a one-on-one fight anyway. He may even align himself with the Vince to fight Big Mom. I think that's more of a possibility than going one-on-one. But the way I think set up with that now, with that Pudding showing her true colours, and with Nami, she kind of knows what's going on. And think about this, they kind of interacted when they first met, so I think that's kind of foreshadowing. Again, it could also be Reiju. I made predictions about that too.
Reiju, again, I may be reading too much of this, but Reiju out the entire Vince Smoke seemed more in tune with Sanji. Like, she's not too bad, but she's questioning Sanji's motives. Why you left the family to go off and travel with a small pirate crew? What was it? You had fame, you had power, you had women, you had everything. So maybe, and I'm not saying she's going to be a Nakama crew member joining, no, but she could be an ally down the road. Because I think out of the entire Vince Smoke, she could be like, she's the less, let me put this right, the less hostile of the entire Vince Smokes.
Importantly, now we have some development and progression in that, and in fact, the charade is over, and now we can move ahead and move up to what's really important, and that's pretty much the wedding. As people are labeling it, the Red Wedding. So the setup for this year is all hinging on that chapter when we get the wedding. Obviously, and just because the year of Sanji is almost up, it does not mean again that Sanji, the spotlight's not going to be on Sanji. No, I have a sinking suspicion. Obviously, Sanji's going to be a crucial part of this arc, but I think he has two of the biggest decisions to make in this arc. Number one, now that he kind of knows where Pudding lies and the betrayal and everything, and that's another thing too. Do you think it's possible that Reiju set that up so Sanji would hear? Because at this point, I really wouldn't be surprised. And another thing too about Reiju, a lot of people are speculating back and forth whether or not that was a flashback or whether or not it's present time. I happen to think that was a flashback to what happened with Pudding, and I'll tell you why. Because if somebody else had fucked her up, we would have seen anything but her legs and arms fucked up, and we didn't. When she was talking about Pudding, what we saw was her legs and her arms that was covered by the slime. But again, like I said during the review, it looked like whatever that slime was, it was sucking the blood out of her legs. That's what it looked like to me, and she was bleeding an awful lot, kind of similar to the way she was when she was in the hallway. Again, Oda can change that, but obviously, Pudding is suspect number one. A lot of people are going back and forth about how they called Pudding being evil. In fact, I don't want to say I called it and said that I said she was evil, because I didn't say that. I did say during my live reaction during chapter 830 that there was something about Pudding that was kind of off. The way she kind of tried to help the Straw Hats, and it just doesn't. It seemed too easy, and everything we've learned since then is kind of pointed towards that. And that's speculation has been back and forth whether or not she was evil. And a lot of people. Now, I did make a discussion after chapter 832 about how I thought Reiju and Pudding would be two primary plot points in this arc, and so far that's been the case if you think about it. Because you have Pudding, who deceived the Straw Hats, and Sanji more specifically. Reiju, still has a card to play, but like I said, like I said during that discussion, a betrayal, a deception is guaranteed in this arc, and that was chapter 832, and now here we are almost 18 chapters later. So there you go. And now we see both, not only Reiju, but also putting in the same room, having a discussion. Again, there's a few people who think that Reiju might actually do a 180, and the fact that there could be another curveball, and I think I have a reason as to why people think that way. Again, I gotta give people credit; they are optimistic, but honestly, I think it's one turn too many. Plus, Reiju's kind of helping Sanji in her own way anyhow. So, what is the point of having two people help Sanji? You got the Straw Hats are guaranteed to help Sanji the moment they break out. Reiju's obviously going to help out Sanji. I don't know what Vince looks like. They're being threatened too. I think there's going to be an alliance between the Straw Hats and the Vince Smokes, and that may be enough to hold off Big Mom. I'm not saying they're going to defeat Big Mom. Fuck that, no. It took Luffy almost 100 chapters just to take down Doflamingo, so no. But I do think that's where this arc is heading. Again, we could look to more exciting things in 2017. But the year of Sanji as a whole, when you look at it objectively, did it meet the expectation? In my opinion, from a characterization standpoint and from development standpoint, hell to the yeah, absolutely. When it comes, because you can't really, it's not always about powering up and badass power levels. Sanji's obviously going to get a huge power level by the end of this arc. I still think it's a good chance he might use that against Big Mom, which is good because it's about time he used against them. Again, even though Sanji's taking L's for days, we still don't know how powerful really Sanji is. He hasn't been tested that fully, and neither has Zoro, and that's why I know people going back and forth. I don't know who's going to fight first. It may be Judge or it may be Big Mom. I don't think he's going to fight Puddin. I think that's going to be left to either Nami or Reiju. But when you look at it as a whole, from the moment we found out that Sanji was a Vince Smoke, and from where we are now, it's been a hell of a ride. And yes, obviously we had Zoe, but after that, when we got to Hawking Island, that's pretty much where the year of Sanji was back on track. Again, it's a toss-up because obviously Sanji's had his high points against. Well, obviously one of the most memorable would be against Luffy, even though Luffy didn't fight back. Obviously, due to his maturity against his experiences with Usopp and where everything lies now. Obviously, it helped him against Sanji and not act a little bit more immature when it comes to the situation. So plus, obviously, neither was serious about the LD. Sanji was only doing it because he wanted the Straw Hats to leave so he could save them, and Luffy was being Luffy, not leaving for anybody. But when you look at it as a whole, the year of Sanji, a lot of people are. I'll be honest. I'll combine that with the year of Big Mom because ever since we found out Big Mom, it's gone her way. Ever since the Straw Hats entered the Whole Cake Island, and to where we are now, even though the Pudding is kind of evil, it doesn't matter because the Straw Hats can't do shit at this point. Only Chopper and Carrot can. I don't know what's happening with Brooke. It seems like, yeah, this is definitely setting up a fight against Pudding. I don't know if it's going to be a Nami or Reiju or even perhaps both. That'd be nice. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad Oda kind of threw this in because obviously it has to happen sooner or later. But a lot of people would have preferred Reiju to help out the Straw Hats more than what Pudding. That's just my honest take on it. And again, you got people who think there's going to be another twist in the tail with Pudding. I think again, like I said, there's a reason for that. If you go back to when we had the whole thing with Raizo and that curveball, and now Oda played everything out with the samurai and the minks, and the Straw Hats were kind of thrown in for a loop, as we were, because obviously we were not expecting that. That's one of the biggest curveballs of the year because of the way, obviously, because Jack fucked up the minks because he was searching for Raizo. We thought the moment the minks learned that the samurai were cool with the Straw Hats, they were going to put heads. That turned out to be not the case, and obviously I think a lot of people are carrying what happened with that and carried it over to what's happening now with Pudding. So we have people going back and forth, and it worked out in Oda's favor because even though she was evil in the end, you still got people who said they called it, but they're still kind of pissed off about it, because I think the reason is they really thought that maybe this could be it. Deep down, I think, yeah, they had the suspicions about Pudding, but maybe they thought, okay, maybe this is finally going to happen for Sanji because it's the year of Sanji. So I think Oda used that and manipulated those feelings. And now you got people saying, oh, this bitch has two important decisions to make. What is he going to do with Pudding now that he knows this information? And second of all, what's he going to do at the wedding? Is he going to get through with it? Or will he trust Luffy enough again to deal with this situation? That's the question I have. And the biggest question of all is why would she have the conversation with Pudding in the first place? If she was fucked up beforehand, that makes even less sense. And that's why I kind of feel she got fucked up by Pudding. And a lot of people called this anyway. A lot of people said that Pudding may have been the one behind the beating up of Cosette, the maid that Sanji kind of protected. So that is a possibility, because I won't put anything past Pudding at this point. Another thing too, what is up with her third eye, and why did she? I still think Sanji wouldn't give it a fuck. See, the thing about this, people wanted to make the comparison with Pudding and Viola, what happened in Dressrosa. But the thing about this is Sanji kind of saw through the deception of Viola when she said, obviously you're an idiot, and she kicked the shit out of Sanji. Obviously, Sanji, he kind of knew what Viola wasn't honest about that, and he saw through her true feelings. With Pudding, we don't know how Sanji really felt and how he thought about Pudding. He was kind of forced into the situation, so that's the difference. So, honestly, I don't really mind one way or another. Whether she was evil or not, it doesn't matter, because it's progression now. We can move on and we can put that stuff behind us. Sanji's got a decision to make, and now he's going to be one of the most crucial parts of this arc in 2017 of where the story goes from here. On fights now, and especially if the Vince Motes get involved in this, but like I'm assuming they will, there's a shit ton of possibilities now. You can have Ichigo fight the highest commander. What is it? The potato starch. For sure, he's gonna have the highest batting. For sure, so that had his low point. Obviously, Sanji taking L's of Judge, and obviously, I mean, he did take out Yanji off screen, and then he dislocated Nichi's jaw with a casual kick. But other than that, I mean, and then the concasse to Luffy that temporarily knocked him out because he was back up. Another thing too, what do you think Sanji's going to do now? What do you think Rage is going to do? Because it seems to be like if there's anybody that Sanji cares about in the Vince space, it's got to be Rage. So I don't know what Sanji's going to do from here, but what do you think he's going to do? And what do you think about the year of Sanji as a whole? We know where we're heading for 2017. It's going to be, let's be honest, as good and as on point as Oda's been this year. The hype for 2017 is on a whole-time high. In fact, in January, you got One Piece Full Gold coming out in North America, which means it's going to be coming out in dub. The anime, we're heading for Zoro's going to get wrapped up, and then we're heading for the versus Four Emperors arc, and then we're going to the Whole Cake Island for that tea party. So I can't wait for the anime, but let's be honest, the continuation of Whole Cake Island, the Red Wedding, as people are labeling it, what we got right now, the build-up, with obviously now we know we're heading for the Reverie as well. I've already made my theories about that. I made a discussion. Go check it out. And also, obviously, we are heading for the most anticipated arc in One Piece thus far, and that is the Wano arc. So I can't wait for that. But what do you think about the year of Sanji 2016 as a whole? That's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video if you did, appreciate that. Comment down below your thoughts about the year of Sanji. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. And let's get ready for 2017. Catch you guys later. Bye.